So many big fights just took place at UFC 322, including Islam beating Jack Della Maddalena, Valentina beating Weili Zhang in a very exciting fight. We also had Michael Morales smoking Sean Brady, crazy. Carlos Prates smoking, literally, Leon Edwards. And Benoit Saint Denis, Bo Nickel. Like, there's so many fights. Let's just get right into it. These are my fights to make after UFC 322. I'll give you my reasons. First one, we have to go with the main event. Islam Makhachev, he beat Jack Della Maddalena. He's the welterweight champion. And I think Ian Garry's going to beat Bilal Muhammad this weekend. And if he does, I think this is the fight you have to make. Bilal's the former champ. I think he's ranked number 2 now. Do Makhachev versus Garry. They're going to run the Khabib versus Conor narrative with this. I actually think this fight would be really interesting and really competitive. Garry has great takedown defense. His striking's very, very good. Love him or hate him. I know he's annoying, but this would be a good fight. I think Makhachev would win. And if Garry loses to Bilal, the whole division's cooked. Obviously, if you can get Ilya to move up to welterweight and like Dana agrees to that, just run it. Otherwise, we'll never see that fight, and we have to see that fight. I do think Islam would beat Ilya at welterweight. At lightweight, I don't know. But this is the fight to make, in my opinion. If Garry wins, which I think he will, you do Makhachev versus Garry. And if Bilal wins, I don't know what they're going to do. Makhachev versus like Prates probably. Maybe Michael Morales. We'll get to them later. I think this is a great fight, though. I would lean Makhachev, but you have to book this. As for the loser of the co-main event, or of the main event, Jack Della Maddalena, he's got to take on Shavkat. Shavkat's been out for so long. He's earned 57 title shots and just hasn't showed up for any of them. He's going to come back. Who knows when? JDM's going to need a little bit of time off. Heal up that calf, I guess. JDM's a savage, though. He would take this fight. JDM versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. JDM wins. We'll be right back online for like title picture. I think he needs a couple more wins before he deserves a title shot. And if Shavkat comes back and beats JDM, you give him a title shot. Islam versus Shavkat would go insane. This is the fight to make. I think JDM pieces up Shavkat, but I also said that about Islam, so what do I know? As for the very exciting co-main event, I think you run Shevchenko versus Natalia Silva. I know Shevchenko hinted at other options. I know someone like Erin Blanchfield is on a decent streak right now. But she recently lost to Manon Fiorot. I think you got to give her another win or two. Natalia Silva's been really good. She even called her out, said her name. I would be rooting for Natalia Silva to win this. I love Shevchenko. I used to really enjoy watching her. She's been so boring lately. So give it to Natalia Silva. She's like the Joshua Van right now to the Pantoja of the flyweight division. Shevchenko versus Silva. I think Shevchenko probably would win. But I'd low-key be rooting for Natalia Silva. As for the loser of the co-main event, it was Weili Zhang. I think she just needs to move back down and go beat up our girl, Mackenzie Dern. God, that picture of Mackenzie Dern's rough. When she's fighting, it's not as bad. Anyways, I think Weili would destroy Mackenzie Dern, but Weili looked terrible against Shevchenko, so maybe she's just done for. But no, I think it was the size, obviously. So Weili versus Dern, I think that's the fight to make. I think Weili would absolutely run through Mackenzie Dern, probably to a decision somehow, but that's women's MMA. She needs to move back down because that is just not her weight class. Go reclaim your title. Strawweight's dead. It's literally so just, there's nothing going on there. And then she's going to dominate that division for 10 more years. As for our featured fight, hey, I saw people matchmaking this card, like fights to do next. How are we not booking this? Michael Morales, he knocked out Sean Brady first round. He's going to need no time off. Carlos Prates, he knocked out Leon second round. He's not really getting any time off. He barely got hurt. He got taken down a little bit. A couple punches aside of his face. You saw his face when he was making. This is such a banger. 2 insanely good strikers. Morales is going to be high up in the rankings, like top 5 now, because he beat Sean Brady, who was ranked second. Obviously, with JDM winning, it's going to bump everyone down a little bit. And then Prates just beat Leon, who I think was number 4, so he'll be in the top 5. Winner of this gets a title shot. They both were calling for it. They both did the belt thing. This is the fight to make. This fight would be so peak. I'm telling you, this would be, oh my God. This fight would be so good. Make it a 5-round main event. Make it a 5-rounder number 1 contenders on a pay-per-view. I don't care what you do. I think Carlos Prates would beat Morales. Morales is really good. He's huge for the division. But his punch, he loops a lot. He's kind of not the cleanest striker, even though he's very powerful, very good. I think Protest is cleaner. I think Protest has got better timing. I think Protest is more powerful, and I think Carlos Protest would beat Michael Morales, especially in a full camp. This is the fight to make. They're both brutal strikers with insane KO power. Winner of this takes on the winner of Islamini and Garry. We got to book it. We got to do it. This fight would be such a banger. Come on. Like, am I cooking? I think I'm cooking. As for our boy Sean Brady, he got the smoke. Look at it. His nose is still not recovered in that photo. Sean Brady, I think you give him maybe Gabriel Bonfim. I was looking at someone like Kamaru Usman, I think would be an interesting matchup. I even debated doing Bilal Muhammad if he loses to Ian Garry. But I was like, if Bilal Muhammad loses, you got to do Bilal versus Kamaru. Right? Like, they can't fumble that matchup. That matchup's too good. I even was debating Joaquin Buckley, but I think Buckley got shown levels against Usman in the grappling. He needs to come back against someone not like Sean Brady, in my opinion. That's why I booked this matchup. Bonfim just beat Randy Brown, and he deserves a big jump up in the competition, you know, in the rankings. And Sean Brady's going to be jumped, like, way down because, like, let's think about it. JDM lost, so he's going to automatically bump everyone down. If Bilal loses, Ian Garry's going to shoot up and shoot everyone else down. Sean Brady lost to Michael Morales, who's going to be above him, who beat Leon Edwards. Carlos Protest beat Leon Edwards, who's going to be above Sean Brady now. Like, it's just a mess. It's a mess. Bonfim is a tough matchup, I think. This is actually really interesting. I think I probably would lean Bonfim in this matchup, weirdly, but yeah, this matchup, I don't know. Tell me if I'm cooking with this one. This one is a little bit tougher to put together. There's so many names out there for Sean Brady. He's going to need a little bit of time off. He came out there wearing knee pads. I knew he was cooked. He had tights and knee pads on. It was just a bad look. That's the fight to make, in my opinion. Next one. I think you book Leon Edwards versus Jorge Masvidal. Hear me out. White House card. Masvidal comes back. He's boys with Trump. They're like this. Leon comes in. I think this is one of the only fights Leon's going to be able to win right now. Leon has been not looking great. I say that, but he actually looked pretty good against Protest with the grappling. But who do you book him against? He's beaten Kamaru. He's lost to Bilal. He's lost to the people ahead of him, you know? You don't want to give him someone... He has to fight down, kind of thing. I didn't want to feed Bonfim to him. Bonfim would run through Leon at this point, I think. These two have beef. Masvidal has expressed interest in this fight. Have Masvidal come back. You know how much money you'd make if Masvidal came back. Leon would probably win. I think Leon, not probably, he would definitely win, right? Like, I know his chin just got tested. I think Leon would smoke Jorge Masvidal, kind of like a Colby Covington performance. Take him down, outstrike him, outpoint him. It would be a decision, but this is the fight to make. I think this makes sense, and it would be cool to see Masvidal come back. There would be a lot of beef. It would be a good matchup, I think. So, that's the one I got. Next up, I put... This one's tough, too. Dan Hooker's facing Arman Sarukian this weekend, and I think he's going to lose to Arman, so you got to do Dan Hooker versus Benoit St. Denis. But if Dan Hooker takes a lot of damage, I could even see them doing like a Justin Gaethje versus Benoit St. Denis, or a Mateus Gamrot versus Benoit St. Denis, which was honestly the one I was leaning towards. But if Arman just kind of decisions Dan Hooker, doesn't really kill him or anything, or gets like a quick submission, you do Dan Hooker versus BSD. This fight would be fireworks. This fight would be so fun. I think Dan Hooker would maybe win, to be honest, but I don't know. He's kind of... This would be a scrap. This would be an amazing fight. I would love to see this fight. If not Hooker, do Gamrot, in my opinion. Maybe even a Fiziev. There's so many names at lightweight, but this is the fight I ultimately went with. As for the loser of that main card opener, Beneil Dariush, he got slimed out in 16 seconds. I think you need to put him in the retirement home, but I don't think he's going to do that. So Grant Dawson has a fight coming up, but Grant Dawson was calling for this fight back at, 311, I believe? And Dariush versus Dawson would be a great match. It makes sense ranking-wise. Dawson's lower in the rankings. Dariush is going to be like 10th now after losing the BSD. You do this fight, I think Grant Dawson would win at this point in their careers. It would be an interesting fight. I actually think this would be like a really fun hardcore fight right here. Great grappling. The striking would be pretty even. I don't know. I wouldn't count out Dariush per se, but I think Grant Dawson would win. And then for the prelims, Bo Nickel got an absolutely insane knockout. I don't even like Bo Nickel, but that man was cooking Vieira, okay? Rodolfo Vieira's no slouch. He's not good. He's terrible on the feet. But Bo Nickel was like styling on him on the feet. Actually looked really good. I think you do Shara Bullet Magomedov versus Bo Nickel. These are two hype prospects, and I think Bo Nickel would ragdoll Share a Bullet. I really do. Now, Share a Bullet's a beast on the feet, so Bo would have to go in there and grapple him right away. I think Bo Nickel would get a submission over Share a Bullet. He would just, go to his right side and sneak that arm in. He'd never see it coming, and it would be all wraps right there. And then the winner of this can start looking towards the rankings. Bo Nickel, I actually think is pretty decent, and we all hated on him because he lost to Rainier de Ritter, who's proven to be solid. I mean, he did lose to Brendan Allen, which was just middleweight's cooked, but Bo Nickel would win this fight, in my opinion. And the last fight I want to talk about, Gregory Rodriguez got a big win. This guy's got a fight coming up, and I think if he wins, you book Marvin Vettori versus Gregory Rodriguez. Marvin Vettori fights anyone. His chin is, like, insane, right? Like, no one puts him out. Put him against RoboCop. Let's see what happens. RoboCop hits so hard. He's been on a win streak since losing to Cannonier, who's, like, that crafty veteran who's just, like, going to keep you outside the rankings. You do Marvin Vettori versus Gregory Rodriguez. He deserves a shot at the rankings again. I think this would be a banger. That's every fight I have for the fighters on 322, like what should happen next. I think I kind of cooked. I think this is a no-brainer if Garry wins. I think this fight would be an absolute scrap right here. This makes a ton of sense. I mean, what else are you going to do here? This is my favorite matchup we got here. Oh my god, we need to see it. This was the toughest one. Brady versus Bonfim. I don't really know. Brady's in a weird spot. I was seeing like maybe Brady versus JDM, but I don't want to see that. JDM just got shown levels in the grappling. Don't put him against a grappler right away. I know Shavkat got grappling. Don't get me wrong. And that's probably how he'd try to win. But they'd keep it on the feet. I think Brady's a more dominant like grappler than Shavkat. Does that make sense? Wrestler? You got it. This would be a banger. Do I think it's realistic? Low key, I could see it happening. I could. I just don't. I liked Leon Man. Got slimed out. This is a banger. Am I wrong? There's so many options for BSD though. He definitely needs to fight up in the rankings. Who did I see? I think Bedtime MMA. I love that boy Bedtime, but he did BSD versus Chandler. BSD needs to be fighting up in the rankings. He's on a nice little streak right now. I think 3 in a row. So he needs to fight up there. This is an easy matchup to make, in my opinion. This is crazy. I've seen people calling for this. It needs to happen. And I think this is a slept-on banger. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Peace.